The topics this morning are actually a perfect introduction to what we're going to be talking about. And my name is Andrea Cross. I'm a doctoral student at CanChild, and I have the absolute pleasure of moderating today's session. And we've been discussing over the phone and teleconference for the last little while about what were our lessons that we wanted to share. And we have put together, I think, a fabulous, another F word, group of people who are going to be sharing their perspectives on what the F words are, but also how they can support positive mental health and family well-being. So we have two youth/young adults. We were discussing right before this whether I introduced them as a youth or a young adult, and I was moving them into the young adult category, and they said, no, we want to stay as youth. So yeah, Maria, Danijela would like to join as well. So Jonathan and Julia, we have Danijela joining us, who is a parent, and Maria there at the end, who is a physiotherapist, and I'll let them introduce themselves a little bit more. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about the F words in childhood disability. Just to raise up hands, how many people have heard of the F words before today? Wow, that's great. So I don't have to do too much of an introduction, and you all have an F words poster in the pamphlets or the books that you got today. But the F words build on the World Health Organization International Classification of Functioning Disability and Health Framework. And this was a paper written by Dr. Peter Rosenbaum and Dr. Jan Willem Horter in 2012, and titled "The F Words in Childhood Disability, I Swear This Is How We Should Think." And the 6 F words that we would like to focus on in all children's and families' lives are fitness, function, friendships, family, fun, and future. And so those are the F words that we're going to be talking to you about today. So my first question for the panelists is, what do the F words mean to you? And can you provide one example of how you apply them in practice? And Danijela is our first panelist up.
Of course. They put me in the front, always. Hi, my name is Danijela, and I'm a parent of a disabled child. He has CP, and he is almost 14, level 5. So meaning that he basically cannot do anything by himself, right? So the F words, what they mean to me, meaning inclusion and acceptance. You see, we as a parent, we don't like to hear how you cannot fix our child or something, that he cannot do something. We want to see what our children can do. So we want to see abilities, right? So as, I don't know, 12 years ago when he was diagnosed, basically, when I asked what level 5 means, they said, well, that's it. He cannot do anything. Really? Well, I would like to see the poster. Vasily is doing a lot of stuff. He's horseback riding. He's, soccer, of course, and sliding. And he is swimming, and he did hockey, sledge hockey. We tried that. That was fun. Well, I had to learn to skate first. Yeah. So, we did try a lot of stuff, and he really enjoyed. Yes, it's not perfect. It is not, but he's doing it. And that is the purpose of F words. When I tell people to look at them, I want them to see my child as a whole, and at the whole environment, everything that is around him. And let's make a plan. We have a goal, let's try to achieve it. Okay? Thank you. Yeah. I would like a okay, good. I know, I'm funny. Peter is laughing at me. So, This is efforts agreement. One of our parent researchers, Diane from UK, she made this one. And it is really helpful. I handed this to people who work with my son. Let's say he started now as high school. Oh boy, this was very helpful. Believe me, when they read this, they look at us a little bit, okay, you know. So now they're trying to do stuff. Because the pictures that I'm also showing them, the collage, saying a lot of 1,000 words. Okay, he's not the one that cannot do things, he can do things, right? Okay, next.
Thank you.
Hi. My mic. Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Julia. And for me, the efforts mean that I am more than the list of my medical conditions. So I think everyone in this room can attest when you go to a doctor's office, when you go to any place for accommodations, anything like that, you list out your medical conditions and you list out the negative impacts they have on you. And for me, the F words mean that I'm a person who's capable of more than the medical conditions. I'm more than just my disabilities. I'm worth my abilities and what I can do. And so for me, I love sledge hockey as, you can get me talking about sledge hockey for about an hour, and good luck to you. And the F words, I really wish were involved in my treatment of care. I had a stroke when I was 17, and I've had a neurologist tell me I can't be a physician because I can't use both my hands. And for me, that's so frustrating because as someone who is passionate about the field and who wants to contribute to the field in a meaningful way, I would hope that my physicians would encourage me to do that and to pursue my dreams regardless of whether or not I can perform surgery on someone. So for me going forward, I think using the F words to help create a positive dialogue about disability is really, really important.
Thank you.
So I've been a physical therapist for over 20 some odd years, and so it's been a bit of a long haul. To me, the F words takes us out of that medical model from a therapist point of view or a clinician point of view and really forces us to look at the whole child and the entire environment, and it makes you think outside the box. This is relatively new to me, really probably in the last 2 years that this has really kind of come to the forefront of what I've been doing. And we can flip up to the next. So I had a student, and the parents in the room can laugh at me because over my holiday and vacation, I was reading my professional journals and I came across an article about trying to get families to follow through on their home programs, and as a frustration as a therapist, I'm like, why will they just not do what I tell them to do? And it finally, in the article, it said because it's not their goals. And then I realized, well, you're right, I don't know what their goals are. So with a student in 2015, I kind of pressed her, I said, come up with a worksheet for me that I can hand out to the parents. It's still very much its infancy stage and very physio-focused. But I started using this a couple years ago, handing it out to the families where I was at an impasse, didn't know what to do, and just started even a little bit of younger age of saying, so tell me what you want to work on. And then for me to look back and say, I am just this one piece. And I may not be the most important, and I think that's probably the transition for me for the F words, is it's not about fitness and physio and exercises. How can I incorporate that into something else that is a bigger picture outside of the clinical room?
So hi, I'm Jonathan. I'm glad to be back here. I've been at Bloorview. Well, I'm too old to be at Bloorview anymore, so. So for me, the F words are tangible ways to be accountable for your own quality of life. And I sort of think of them as your life bank accounts. And they're all distinct, but they're joined together. but each one is separate, and you have to invest in each one of them accordingly. Yeah, that's me.
And I think it's great that all of our panelists have actually created their own F-words collage. And I'm going to encourage all of you to do the same. And in a short little while, this will be up on the CanChild website, and you'll be able to download it and put your own pictures in it. So hopefully you will take us up on that. Question number 2, what do you find are the most challenging F-words to address? And we'll go in the same order.
Well, for me, it's friends. That's a tricky one. You see, my son, he also cannot communicate. I mean, he's not verbal. He can communicate, but he's not verbal. So his peers in school, they really like him, and they will come to him and, chat a little bit. And they will come to his birthday parties when I call them. That's very nice. But they don't call him back on the birthday parties. They don't spend a recess with him. They don't come home to play with him. So that's about it with the friends, right? I did a little bit of talk to school about the inclusion before I found out about F-words. I was basically saying the similar thing, not in these words. And I noticed when the teacher is following what I'm saying, when they listen, the peers will follow and include my son more in activities at school. Also, we had a very nice example on the last workshop where someone said, well, it can be somebody who is like older, your neighbor or something. And yes, Vasilia had, that's the name of my son, he had one lady, she was 81, yeah, on the floor. And of course, as I am, I met her in a hallway. She wasn't feeling well. I helped her a little bit. Then I brought her a little bit of cookies after. And there she was, every day for 3 years. 4:30, she will come at the door. I will make her coffee and some cookies, and she will sit for half an hour with my son playing blocks. They had such a bond that you can't believe it. So even that kind of friendship, that was priceless. Okay, but still, Helga passed away, unfortunately. But we are still searching. We are trying to find more friends and include my son as much as possible. Thank you.
So I would have to agree with you. Friends is one of the harder ones to address. And the reason being is because our peers, for me at least, grew up with this very, very medical model of disability. And when they look at me and when they see the mobility aids I use, or the fact that I walk a little bit differently, or I do things differently, there's always this assumption of cannot do something. And I'm constantly asked, what's wrong? What happened to your leg? To which I reply, nothing, because the leg's probably the best functioning part of my body. And it becomes a very disability-centric conversation. And there's a lot of assumptions about what I can't do, and I always try and tell people, assume capability until proven otherwise. Proven or told otherwise, I should say. So, now, 4 years into university, I have a wonderful group of friends, and I have people who are extremely supportive of what I do, and people who will refuse to ask me for help anymore because they know I don't need it. And it's really, really helpful to have that group of friends, but it's very hard to come by, and you have to be very outgoing, and you have to own your disability, and you have to be a little bit outspoken in some ways in order to make those friendships and in order to invite people in. And for some people, that is very, very hard. So I think the F words really help with that in a way, because they allow you to structure your conversations with people so that, yes, I had a stroke, my leg doesn't work properly, my arm doesn't work properly, okay, but I can still go cliff jumping, I can still go to bars, I can still like go out with my friends. And that's really important to show and tell people when you meet them.
From the clinicians, since I started doing this, I feel like it's the future that seems to be a very struggling sticking point, and I know it's scary, and those of us, a parent of 2 teenagers, one just went off to university, it is scary to do, but I love the comment that my mom had said, is it's my job as a parent to raise them so that they can go away and be their own person. So that's kind of been my parental strategy. But I think the future is very, very scary for the families that I work with, and when I try to talk to them, my preteen, tweens, early adolescent kids, when I show them my sheet and say, like, what do you want to do with your future? And they look at me and they're like, I'm not sure. I said, do you want to live with mom and dad for the rest of your life? And they're like, no. And I'm like, good, that's what I want you to say. So it's me kind of pushing the boundaries for some of the parents to think, like, there can be a life outside, and what will that look like? It may not look the same for everybody, but to, again, embrace it and try and plan and put some of those strategies in place so that they can do some of those things. It's hard in, I think, society today. Again, the supports are not there as much as we say they are. I really don't think they are, and it makes it really, really hard to contemplate the future. I like to think I have a very optimistic point, and we were just having a discussion yesterday in the office of that hope versus what my knowledge and my vision is, and based on my medical training and what I can see for a client. So I do have a very young family who they are hanging on to the hope that everything's going to work out fine, and in my gut I hope it does, but I have my doubts that this little person is going to walk like everybody else. So I usually challenge them, or I'm trying to gently introduce, walking can look different. It doesn't have to be completely on her feet with no assistive devices. It might have some of that, but let's redefine what walking is and still have a hope for a future to involve them in everything that we can. But I'm pushing my parents to try and entertain what does the future look like and what can we do to maximize it.
Before I go into what I find most challenging, can we just go back to the collage, and I just want to go through each picture. So function, that's an AFO, and you can see it's pretty colorful. I remember the first time I had my first pair was white, and it had peach straps with a blue plastic strap on it. And it really helps when you have such fashionable let's say aids. For me, during my childhood, I struggled with wearing pants that are that go higher than your mid-calf region, and just having something as simple as maybe a cool design can really boost a child's confidence with wearing shorts or maybe more adaptable clothing. Family, that's not my mom, that's my aunt. I couldn't find a serious picture with my mom, so yeah, that's my aunt. I wasn't sure if she wanted her face in, so sorry for the bad Photoshop job. I wanted to put an emoji in, but it didn't work. For fitness, I was just watching the Paralympics, and there's this sport called CP football, which is soccer. It's adaptable 7-a-side soccer, and it's really fun, and it's really it's just like normal soccer, but just people playing have CP, and that's something I want to look forward to. I haven't been really as active with my health and my fitness. I'm sorry, Dr. Feelings. all your work, and I end up, yeah. Anyways, for fun, I like to play music, and I like watching TV. There's a new TV show about a family with cerebral palsy, speechless, on ABC tonight. Wednesdays at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 4 Pacific. Go watch it, shameless plug. It's really funny. And for friends, that is also one of the more serious pictures with my friends. Well, pictures that you can see your face clearly in. But I really wanted to focus on fun and future, and with fun, I sort of split it into 2 different aspects. Fun, part 1 is things that you enjoy, things that you do for fun, and the second part is things that are not so fun, but how you can make it fun. So how maybe therapy or different treatments can be fun. I remember music therapy during my Botox session really helped a lot. And also exercise gaming. Exercise is not fun most of the time. And that's partly why I feel like maybe my fitness and physical function has sort of regressed. But that's something I can work on. For future, I'm a big dreamer, so I could tell you my future plan for the next 10 years with every small detail. I could tell you what car I want to get, what stuff like that. But I found that when you focus too much on your future, your present may suffer a little bit, and I think it's important to take every day step by step, and not to be afraid to set high expectations. I feel like within that future you have a fear of failure, and why not dream big? Why not hope for amazing things? Like for those of us with disabilities that want to go, let's say, different careers and stuff like that, there is actually a doctor with CP that looks after CP patients. Her name is Dr. Jan Brunstrom Hernandez. She used to work in St. Louis, but now she has a private practice in Texas. So there is hope for people with disabilities who want to become doctors and stuff like that. But for me, I really want to become a music therapist, which is a job that I didn't even know existed until I was in rehab here. And it's a really cool way of interacting with lots of people and playing music, which is something that I enjoy. So yeah, that's me.
I really have the easy job up here. I just asked the questions. So the next question is, we've just talked about what are some of the challenging efforts to address, and we're now going to focus on what are the most important efforts, and the panelists are going to talk about in their life right now, and recognizing that the different efforts and what's important to them may change over a period of time. Daniela?
Yeah, of course. Well, right now for me, the family is the most important one. Let me explain you a little bit about family. Family means the central environment of the child. Means that you can call me a special mom. I am the one who knows everything about my child, right? I learned so many skills through these years, from physiotherapy to fixing equipment and programming his communication device and who knows what, healthy food, everything. So basically I know, I'm like a walking encyclopedia about my child. So If you need to know something, you don't need to read that big file. You can ask. The thing is that I want people to listen to us as parents and to hear us, right? So that is the challenge and the most important thing today that I'm facing with the new school. So I'm trying to convince them to listen to me. To, whatever I say, it's not that I'm imagining things, it's because I know that, because I've done that. Yesterday I got a video from school, oh, he's crying in his stand, doesn't want to be how he's doing at home. So I made a video back. That's how he's doing at home. He's playing puzzles on his stand. Very calm, normal. So I am still struggling. It's been a month, but we are getting there with, to teach people what to do. The scariest part now is because my son his intellect is not touched, so he's like any other kid, 14 years old, and he wants to learn also, so school is not a daycare. So when I get there and I said academic and physio, oh my God, like I hit someone. Really, it was like, how we are going to do it? He doesn't speak. So there is ways, there is people who can help you. So, I call all the therapists, these therapists, to show them what to do, organize everything. We will see, cross fingers, we will see how it will be. Okay.
So for me, one of the most important ones is function. And the reason being is that comes into play with all of the other F words. And function is really about what you can do and not about how you do it. So often in rehabilitation and in many, many aspects of your life, people want you to do things in a certain way. They want you to walk a certain way. They want you to do your hair a certain way, all of these other things, sit in a certain way. And that might not necessarily be the way in which you perform the most activities. And so for me, function is of the utmost importance. So a funny story is that when I first got my robotic legs back, I was sitting on the ground opening them and unscrewing them and doing all of that kind of stuff. And Peter walks out of the office and goes, "Why are you sitting like that?" And immediately I look down and I turn and I move my legs because I know I'm not supposed to be W sitting. I know, I have been told several times. And Peter says, no, you can go back to that. And I look at him with the biggest, like, what did you just say? Not expecting that to come out of his mouth. And he said, yeah, there's no evidence to prove that it doesn't work, or like to prove that it hurts you. So if you function better like that, sit like that. And now I have been proudly W sitting everywhere I go. It's so much more functional for me. I can do activities on the ground with other people, and it just makes more sense to do it that way. And I can easily get up into a crawl if I need to move and grab something versus sitting on my side where my good hand is taken away and my bad hand's sitting there like this, and I can't do anything. I can maybe have a conversation at best. So when we talk about function, I really think it's important that we focus on what you can do versus how you do it. And so if that means using a trike to get around a big campus, if that means W sitting, if that means using a hook on the wall to help tie your hair, then I think it's important that we do those things in order to enable the full quality of life of individuals with disabilities.
Everyone thinks I'm going to say fitness. I'm not. The physio is not going to say fitness is the most important. Fun and friends is where I think I'm at right now. And if I can, and it's a struggle even in our area, so I'm in Durham region. I have a great recreation department, really kind of blossoming in our area. I cannot get the kids involved in fitness community recreational activities. And I'm pushing and trying, and I'm not sure where the gap really is. And I've tried to look at this new kind of the worksheet, and it's like, listen, if we can get you out into a program that you're doing something, and I don't even care what it is as a physio, just get out and do something. It will be fun. They'll create friends. We'll have a life network. And inadvertently, we might actually do some fitness, and you might actually stick with it. So let's try that. And so coming into the clinic, or into our rehab place to do therapy with me one-on-one, even when I try and do it in a group, really can't really be all that much fun. I think it is much more beneficial if I can get them out into the community and working on something that's fun and where they can make friends. That's more important than me.
Yeah, for me, it's all about fun, and I think your improving fitness will come if those methods of improving your fitness are fun. I guess a part of my functional and fitness regression, I think, is because those exercises are just not fun. And if they're not fun, they're not going to be effective. So rather than putting the exercise first, why not put the fun first, and the exercise and the fitness will improve as a result. And also I wanted to just give a shout out to all the family members. My parents are not here, but I think parents most of the time are not sure, or maybe they don't hear as often how appreciative us children are of your efforts. And I know that some days it may be frustrating, and you may want to say another F word. But we do see what you're doing for us, and we appreciate your sacrifice. And yeah, I'm sure sort of positive reinforcement and a smile from us is much more effective than I guess a gallon of coffee or whatever you drink to get your energy up. But yeah, for the parents, we really do thank you for all the work that you're doing.
You guys are all fabulous. This is our last question, and then we will probably have a little bit of time for questions. And this really ties in well with Lucy's presentation earlier, because they're all going to talk about what their hopes for the future are.
Well, I have to agree first with John. If my son is here, he would say fun, not family or something like that. He's all about fun. So yeah, for the future. Well, you see, every family, I believe, that has incorporated all the efforts into their lives. I did, before I knew about the efforts. And what we need to do actually is to recognize that and to spread that to other areas of kids' lives. I'm hoping that efforts will get much more impact on school, healthcare, community, everywhere. Because it is important right now to teach the children. Okay, we recognize we're, here on conferences, this, that, but I think we need to teach children because they are our future. They will come and, they will treat my son as an adult tomorrow the right way, right? So right now, we need to work today for the future. That's what we are trying to do in our family. And, just make a little action plan and go from there. That's all. Thank you.
So for me, I really hope that the F words help to create more inclusive spaces. When you enter a place and you're constantly looked at with this look of, oh, what happened? Something must be so wrong with that person. It's really, really hard to try and fit in and try and integrate into that society that thinks you're inherently wrong or inherently disabled. So I think the F words will help from childhood, teaching my peers and teaching the adults of tomorrow that people with disabilities can have fun, can have friends, can function, and do have futures. And that we are just as much contributors to society as every other person. And so when we have these conversations around the F words and we talk about inclusive spaces, I think that it's extremely important. And I really, really hope that this will come forward, and as we move, that they'll be talked about more and more. And for me, I hope to become a clinician scientist at some point. We'll see how that goes. I'm in 4th year, so we'll see. And I hope that I can be a part of changing the way that people think about other people with disabilities.
My hope for the F words is that every parent who's here is going to go to their next therapy session with an F words agreement and say, hi, this is what I want to work on. I can't say how much I want the education to work from both ends. It's been, at a research kind of level for quite a while. It's trying to trickle down to the rest of us. I still find it within my own setting that the clinicians kind of know it. They know what it is. Is anyone really doing it? Probably not. I haven't come across a parent that I've been working with that knows what it is and says, oh, I know that. And how excited I would be if at my initial assessment the parent came in and said, hey, this is what my fitness goal is, my function goal, my future goal, my family goal, and this is what they like to do for fun, and here are the friends. And I was like, well, okay, and now I know where I fit and how I can help you. And that would make me feel way better, because then whatever exercises or suggestions I might have, I would know that you might actually do, and we'd all be working together in a united front to get the best out of everybody. So that's my hope for the future.
For me, I think the goal for the future would be that the F words would be used as a catalyst to shift the perspective of society and how they view people with disabilities, and also ourselves, our families, how we view ourselves is very important too. Personally, if you always think that the grass is greener on the other side, and you're always comparing yourself to others, that's not healthy. Why not start watering your own lawn? Right? Why not? Why not? It's important to sort of use these words as a way of addressing your life bank accounts and sort of seeing where needs more investment, where am I struggling with, and really thinking about how we have the opportunity to change people's minds, but other people's minds need to be receptive to the change, and I think the F words can really help with that.
So this is the F words poster that all of you should have a copy of now, and it is online on the World Cerebral Palsy Day organization website, and it's being translated into multiple languages, and the languages just keep increasing. So if you speak a different language and would like to translate it, by all means get in contact with us. But that slide didn't work out great. But before we open up for questions, all the panelists have one joint call for the action for all of you sitting here today. And if you like these ideas, we do encourage you to share them. Share them in your own way. Share them with your social networks, your friends, your family members, your service providers. And hopefully by working together, like all the panelists have said, that we can change how we view disability in the future and work in a more inclusive environment where we truly do work together. So I'd like to thank all the panelists for sharing your thoughts, insights. I think it's been a great session, so thank you.